Tropes podcast, where books and friendships collide. I'm Becca.
And I'm Keri, and we're two friends who love to talk about books. Today we are talking about chapters 41 through 50 of Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and wishing you a very happy 4th of July.
Woo! Make sure to check our show notes for any trigger warnings for this episode and this book.
And we will be spoiling up to chapter 50 of Powerless today, so if you haven't read up to then, come back when you do.
It's now time for our one-sentence summaries for chapters 41 through 50 of Powerless. Chapter 41. Paedyn, Ace, and Jax have a much more difficult climb than the other team and aren't loving the teamwork either.
Chapter 42. The two teams work together and get to the top of Plummet Mountain, only to find a twist where they play a deadly capture the flag game.
Chapter 43. Paedyn wins the second trial and Ace dies. That's all you need to know.
Chapter 44. The king warns Kai that he needs to be the one who wins the trials. Then the brothers get into an argument where Kai drops a seed of doubt about the king into Kit's mind.
Chapter 45. 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a thumb war. In the garden between Paedyn and Kai, who end up talking about blueberries, strawberries, and broken bones before Kai gives Paedyn his coat before she leaves.
Chapter 46. Kit finally makes the move to go see Loot, and Paedyn learns the entrance and secret tunnels that she needs as guilt fills her.
Chapter 47. Paedyn is happy to share the news of the tunnels with the other members of the Resistance.
Chapter 48. Kai is having a very vivid nightmare where he hears Paedyn screaming in pain, and he sees all of his victims.
Chapter 49. Paedyn wakes Kai up from his nightmare only to stay and be in his dreams.
Chapter 50. Kai brings Pae breakfast in bed where things get intense, and Pae leaves before they can do anything they'll regret later. Those are some interesting chapters there.
Yes, they are.
All right, let's get into Meet Cutes, where we didn't really meet anyone new this time, but I did want to note that both Ace and Braxton have died. So Ace died by Pae and Kai. We're going to give it to both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Braxton was killed by Blair.
And Kai.
Yeah, I guess we gotta give it to both of them. But Andy, thankfully, is still alive. That was something I was wondering. So.
Yes, we were on pins and needles.
Mm-hmm. She's doing good, though. Yep. So the friendship can still happen.
Yes, we hope. Okay, so now on to our quotables. So this is where we kind of go over, we talk about different plot points, we go through each chapter, and we pull out specific quotes that we like or want to talk about.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get started with the second trial, which is chapters 41 through 43. From the get-go of chapter 41, I knew that Ace would die, so I was living for it. When he was paired, when he was paired with both Jax and Paedyn, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew either Paedyn or Kai would get their hands on him. I just had a feeling.
What? That's so funny.
I was very excited.
I did not think that the first time I read that.
Really?
Mm-mm.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, nope. Good for you for picking up on that, because I did not think that the first time I read it.
Well, he was paired with Paedyn, who absolutely hates him for good reason. And then Jax, who he just tried to kill not too long ago. Basically, he tried to kill him, but it was Kai. It was a whole thing. Lots of drama. Kai has been pissed. So Kai's been waiting for this moment. And Paedyn hates him and also has been waiting. But
in Paedyn's defense, she's been waiting longer than Kai has.
True. But Kai has a bigger reason. I think.
This is true. I think Paedyn's is just a strong dislike.
Yeah, I mean, he did try to kill her a few times, so.
Oh, well, that's true. You're right.
But I think when you basically murder your brother because of Ace, that is way more dramatic.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, yeah. I had a feeling, and I'm very glad he's dead. No offense to Ace, but bye-bye.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know. And they, Paedyn and Kai both really, really want revenge. So, especially Paedyn, because of, her having been almost killed by him and using her illusions of her. So,
yep.
Yeah. I really don't have too much. We don't really have too much to say about this whole set of chapters, but I don't really have too much to say about this trial. But we do get a really cute conversation between Jax and Paedyn, and I really like their like how they're getting to know each other, and Ace is annoying and ruins it. What a cute conversation. No, get out of here. You're ruining it. But we get a peek into what these three brothers were really like from Jax's perspective, which I really liked. We even get a different perspective, and again, further confirmation from Jax of the torture that the king has put Kai through. And we get this quote: his own father forced him to relive his worst fear over and over again. It seems that the torture Kai spoke of enduring was not all physical. So we learned this from Kai's point of view, how he made him get over the fear of heights when he was climbing the tree. And we get this parallel now from from Paedyn's point of view, where she's learning about his fear of heights. So we already knew as readers that he was afraid of heights, but now Paedyn just learned. So we're kind of relearning. So we all know what happens next. The groups make it up the mountain, and then there's this sick twist where, like I said in the one sentence summaries, they have to essentially play a deadly game of capture the flag. One quote I wanted to pull out here was, "And then we turn on one another, chaos." I felt like this whole scene, Lauren, you've outdone yourself again. Well done. The imagery here was perfection. You could feel like the chaos about to explode when you realize what's about to happen. So, have you ever played Capture the Flag, Becca?
Yes.
Yeah? Did you like it?
I am a very competitive person, and some of my teammates were not as competitive as I was, which made me get frustrated. So yes, I enjoyed it. If I had a good team, I loved Capture the Flag. Or if I was like, if we were like equally matched teams, 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
But more often than not, I felt like my team fell flat.
I feel that. Did you play at camp? Or like
In gym
at
class.
parties?
Yeah.
I remember this one time we played at my friend's house and a bunch of middle schoolers. And I feel like I could imagine how it's already a pretty violent game. It can get pretty violent. Yeah. And much less when they're actually allowed to kill each other, like in this book. Like, yep. I remember in youth group when I was a leader, we had to capture the flag game, huge acres in the church. So there was like a flag over there and a flag over there. And we had to like stop the game because our middle schoolers were getting very intense.
Oh no.
People were getting hurt. So I was able to picture this really well. Thank you.
That's so funny.
Youth group kids. Thank you for that. Anyways, just a fun note there. But during this time, Paedyn gets this really good fight with Ace and wins with wit, just like her father taught her. So she's using her mind as a weapon, which we really know she does this on a regular basis, but here in a different way, in a different light. Like she doesn't have any daggers or other weapons to kind of give her like a back up. So she has to use her mind. Mm-hmm. So we do get this really sweet, if we can call this a death scene sweet, of Paedyn giving Kai the option to kill off Ace. So she knows that he probably deserves it a little bit more. And I thought that was really sweet, knowing that how much he needs to get revenge on him and her understanding that of him already. And Kai's only regret, which he says later, was not getting to play with him while he did it. And Kai's a little bit monsterish here, but that's okay. We understand after what he did. But
well, I think it's interesting because, like, Kai even says later that she doesn't realize that part of the reason I'm getting revenge is also for her too. So I think that's, I don't know, kind of sweet.
Yeah, it's sweet in their own twisted way.
That reminds me of like the Twisted Sisters.
Yes. Oh, gotta love it.
What a time.
What a time. Also, speaking of sweet, Kai makes a actually sweet declaration in his point of view where he says that he would give up a life just to save Paedyn's. I don't know why I keep saying Paedyn today. Paedyn's life again and again, and how like he is responsible for Braxton, but it's only because he was saving Paedyn, and I just thought that was really sweet. Like he could have been distracted, but he wanted to save her life. Just love it. But
Yep.
I want to hypothesize something here.
Ooh, okay. I'm ready.
So we know Paedyn and Kai work really, really well together. They fight really well together. We saw that in the first trial. But they also understand these unspoken rules and boundaries, especially in cases like this with Ace. Like, he deserves it. She also deserves it, but she knows that Kai wants it more. And I think this is foreshadowing maybe where he does this for her in either Powerless or Reckless, where
Okay.
he gives her the opportunity to take a life. So I'm thinking it's either Blair or someone that
Blair.
the king, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not that
Okay.
big, but I definitely think he's going to return the favor
Okay.
for her. But I also could think that this would just be what's to come between them as they fight, maybe against the king together, because I
Okay.
do think that's coming. I'm just gonna go ahead and that's where it seems to be going, especially after this set of chapters. But yeah, those are my hypotheses.
Okay, so your first hypothesis is that he returns the favor and allows her to kill somebody instead of him.
Mm-hmm.
And your second hypothesis is they fight together against the king?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Okay. Well,
I
you'll
guess
know
we'll see
you
when.
know.
Oh, you get to read Reckless today. I just realized.
I know.
I'm so jealous.
The day of this recording is
July
the
2nd.
day the day of this recording is the day that Reckless comes out. So I'm so excited. I don't know if I'm going to start reading today. I think I may wait to read until like
Wow.
I'm on the plane, but
I got
we'll
the
see.
email today that it was downloaded to my Kindle, and I was like,
Ooh, exciting.
I need to finish Powerless first, though. We'll get through it. It's killing me to read 10 chapters at a time, but
Next, I think this is 50. Yeah, the next one is what leaves it on a cliffhanger. You're going to be so mad at me.
well, okay, so
You're going to be so mad at me.
listen, if we do the next set of chapters by the 4th and record, say, Friday morning, right? Are you leaving Friday morning?
I'm leaving Friday afternoon.
Afternoon. Okay. We record Friday morning. That gives me the whole weekend to not be on a cliffhanger. So
This is
technically
true.
it's working out really well, so I won't hate you.
This is very true.
Well done, Becca. Great foresight.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know that this was going to be
Just take it.
happening. But thank you. I'll take it.
Just take it.
Okay, so back to your hypotheses. You'll know when you know.
Yes. That's it. All right. So, chapter 44, the brother fight. I'm calling it the brotherly fight. The brother fight. I don't know.
The brother.
One of those.
Whichever.
I didn't write this in my notes because I didn't remember until we went through your one sentence summary. The king actually gives a warning to Kai here to make sure he wins the trials. And we know this because obviously he wants to look good and the future enforcer needs to look good, but all his hard work would be for naught.
This is
But-
true.
Anyways.
Also, you did the one sentence summary for chapter
I did?
44. Yeah.
That's awesome. Great job, Keri.
I was like, I don't think I did that. Yeah, you're on evens.
Well, good job, me, I guess. You should have just taken the credit. Anyways, so both guys, I guess we can't really call them boys. They are men.
We
But,
can call them boys.
okay.
It's fine.
Both Kit and Kai have like a lot of tension building up. So Kai, I would say more than Kit because of Paedyn, both of just who she is and their attraction to her, but also the things that they are, like, she is making them realize about the world and themselves. So I think this fight has been building for a while between Kit and Kai. Plus, Kai is so insanely jealous and confused about Kit and Paedyn's relationship, which we do get more later on. But, like, this is building in him and will continue to build for a long time, I'm assuming, until he understands her secret mission, which I think he will eventually. There's another hypothesis.
Okay. Hypothesis number 3.
I have a lot. But I wanted to pull out this quote that Kai is talking about here. He says, "I'm losing my temper for reasons I don't even understand, and that is only making me angrier. It's as though every pent-up piece of my past is fighting to free itself, fighting to flood to the surface." So I think Kai is finally realizing maybe he's not just what the king has made him into, and maybe he's more than just the future enforcer. Maybe the way he raised wasn't normal. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. It's not normal at all. But I think that, like, he's starting to, like, realize he has gone through a lot of trauma and he has a lot of PTSD, as we saw in his dream section, and that's a lot.
Well, I kind of wanted to point out something here, and it says, quote, "He made me a murderer, molded me into a monster, but that was for the best, right? I jab a finger into his chest as I say, that was for your benefit, so you can use me when you're king, just like he has." And I think, like, I was listening, because for our listeners, I've already read this book, if you have not been listening along already. I have already read this book, so I've been, like, listening to it as we go through. And first of all, the guy who narrates this book, I think his name is Chase. 10 out of 10. He did this part
great.
So good. And I could, like, feel Kai's angst as he was going through this. But second of all, like, I texted Keri and I was like, oof, like, dang. Because, like, they've talked about, like, they don't talk about this kind of stuff. Like, they don't talk about it unless, like, Kai's super drunk or, like, both of them are. And even before at the ball, they say, like, I'm not drunk enough to talk about this yet. And, like, here, both of them are stone cold sober. And Kai is just, like, letting it rip to Kit. And not only that, but saying, like, you're going to be the same kind of king that your father was and use me the way that your father has. And it's like, ooh, like, Kai, like,
He's
Kai
angsty.
yeah, he just needed to get it out, which, I mean, I completely understand, but yikes.
Yeah. Although, like, this was, like, Kai saying that was a real turning point for Kit that made him finally agree to go to loot with Paedyn. And when Kai, especially when Kai says, "So I suggest you start figuring out what you think is for the best," which I love that Kit is getting it from two sides here. He's getting it from Paedyn, which we got from, like, the last set of chapters in the garden, and now from his brother here, which is obviously more impactful because they have a deeper relationship. So even though Kai doesn't really know much about, like, the actual resistance and how strong it is, and that, like, Paedyn's involved, but, like, he's really pushing here, and he wants him to think for himself, which is, he needs to take his own advice a little bit too, but
Kai does?
yeah,
I don't know. I think Kai thinks for himself.
a little bit, but he still thinks that he's, like, his only purpose is the future enforcer to do whatever the king says, for the most part.
True.
I mean, he has his, like, he saves children, he lets Paedyn win. What is going on with me calling Kai? Okay, Kai, Pie, I don't know. Here we go. It's fine.
Yeah, but I think the difference is, like, that's what he thinks he needs to do. But I think the difference is, like, he has those small rebellions versus Kit, who just doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think, like, Kai's not really in a position to be a big rebellion.
That's true.
So he has to have the small ones until he can have a big rebellion.
Yeah.
If he has one.
I'm assuming he will. He's too deep into Paedyn right now. He's not gonna want to live without that girl.
No.
All right, let's move on to Game of Thumb Wars, chapter 45. So I just started watching Game of Thrones, so I just had to throw in like a Game of Thrones reference. Game of Thumb Wars, Game of Thrones. Whenever I start something, I just cannot stop talking about it, so it's fine. Get
like
over
me
it.
With Suits.
That's okay. But let's get into probably the hottest Game of Thumb Wars you've ever heard or seen.
Ooh.
Did I say that? You can cut it out if we don't want to say that. But
No, I love it. I'm here for it.
Paedyn has been going to the garden to just get away from everything. Like, she's home from the second trial. And apparently Kai here comes to the gardens often to cool down and think, and also just to get away from the palace, which is also what Paedyn's doing. She's getting away from the stress of finding the tunnels, just getting away from her room, getting away from everyone, and enjoying like a peaceful place. So they're both going there for the same reason, which I thought was really cute. But I love that in this set of chapters we get this a ton. And it's like some variation of it, but not exactly. But the quote is, "What I should do is turn, wish him goodnight, and head back to my room without another word, and yet my feet make no move to carry me away from him." Which, yes, thank goodness. Keep walking towards Kai, because I am here for it. Don't go back to your room. Go back to him. Thank you. But we get a lot of this in this set of chapters where she tells herself she shouldn't do something, but does it anyway. Most of the time. But really love this internal battle we're getting from her. So cute. Because she knows she likes him, but she's like, I can't.
I can't. Your little southern accent came out there.
I don't have one.
You
Just comes out when I get uncomfortable, I think. Okay, so I feel like playing Thumb Wars with a potential significant other is just the best. I don't know if you did this with Liam, but I definitely did this with Jesse.
We still do.
I hate playing with Jesse because I'm so bad at it, just like Paedyn is with Kai. I get so angry. So I related to this whole passage here so much. And I just love this.
Liam will play Thumb Wars with me, like, without me even realizing that he's doing it. And by the time I realize it, my thumb has been pinned for, like, a solid minute and a half.
At least then you know it's not, like, or not coming, at least.
Yeah.
You're not aware that it's coming. I can't word today. It's fine. So we do learn that Kai hates blueberries and most other fruits. Can't relate. But he does like strawberries, and Paedyn does ramble on about fruit, which is so funny. She's just like looking for anything else to talk about.
Yeah. I love this quote from Kai that like kind of shuts her up. And he's like, "I am content to listen to you talk for hours, but if you must speak about fruit, then at least pick one we both enjoy."
So
and
cute.
It's like, she like takes a step back and she's like, oh my gosh, like he's willing to listen to me talk for hours. And that's like her turning point, I think, of like, oh, I could talk to him for hours. Like, you know, us as girls just like to talk and babble on about fruit for hours.
That's true. The quote that like right after you were just talking about, where she presses her lips together to smother a smile. The future enforcer is willing to listen to me ramble about fruit. The thought has me on the verge of both busting out in laughter and blushing from head to toe. So cute. Also, about the smile thing. Has she fully smiled yet since the first trial? I don't think so.
I don't know.
We've gotten that phrase a few times where I just noticed it, but we smother a smile.
I don't know.
So I'm interested to see when we get a full smile with Kai.
Yes.
But while they are talking, he is idly caressing her thumb, which I love. It was so sweet. It's such like a kind gesture. I was eating it up. I'm here for it. Yes, more please, as the meme would say. Fantastic, I'll take 14 of them.
What meme is that?
It's the guy eating the like pancake thing,
Oh,
and he's like, fantastic, I'll take 14 of them.
I haven't seen
And he's
it.
like, don't tell me what's in them. Anyways, I'll take more, thank you.
Amazing. Same though. Okay, so on to chapter 46, which is The Visit to Loot. My titles are not as interesting this week as they were last week.
I only had one.
You had two.
Anyways.
Okay, so chapter 46, we open on Paedyn, Ellie, and Adina, and they're like squealing because of this dress. And if anyone wondered what a girl's sleepover sounds like, it's basically the opening of this chapter because
100%.
Ellie and Adina are loving this dress on Paedyn, and then when Kit comes in, it's basically the same thing. Like, Adina's trying to smother a squeal, and Ellie's blushing from head to toe, and I love that Adina is like trying so hard to like hide her joy, but she like loves this for Paedyn. Like, we all just need a friend like Adina.
I can't wait to read Powerful just to get more of Adina.
I know. Well, I haven't. Is Powerful Adina's story?
I believe so.
Okay. I thought so too, but I wasn't 100% sure. Okay, so then Kit comes in and he steals her away to loot, and we get another Aladdin callback in Do You Trust Me from Paedyn. And it's so funny to me because the Do You Trust Me in Aladdin comes from when Aladdin is trying to steal Jasmine out of the castle, and here Paedyn is trying to steal Kit out of the castle, and it's just like the parallels. Chef's kiss.
The parallels are paralleling.
Yes. And then we get to see the exact tunnels that the resistance needed, like literally right under the glass box. And Kit, poor guy, just doesn't know. He's clueless.
He is clueless, which breaks my heart. But I think this really quickly to interject. He's showing her where it is, and the passage is in a cell. And she thinks it's brilliant, really. I would have never guessed that an escape out of the castle would be connected to the one place they don't want anyone to escape from. So all I could think about here is when things go bad, because inevitably they will for this group of people, I think Kai and or Kit will save Paedyn and put her in that cell to keep a good look in front of the king or in front of the king's men. But since she was shown this particular cell under the tunnel, she will know how to get out to safety. Or, if that's too cheesy, something about this is very important to the future of the story. So another hypothesis of what I think is gonna happen.
Okay.
I would be really down for Kit saving her.
Kit saving her?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
But I don't think we will get that.
Okay. Interesting. But as I was reading this, I was just like so upset when I was first reading this. I was like, Paedyn, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Me too.
I feel for Kit so much here because he's just trying to do a good thing, and he's getting it from, like we talked about earlier, he's getting it from Paedyn and he's getting it from Kai, the two people outside of the king that are really like have the most influence over him, who are like, you need to go see your people. You need to go see, like, you need to figure out what's best, what you think is best, right? And he's just like struggling. Like he's trying to do the right thing, and he like basically walks the resistance right in the front door, which is so heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this also goes to show the lack of understanding that Kit has about, number one, his people, but number two, the person that he's talking to in Paedyn. Like, yes. Paedyn is a thief who stole off his brother, the Silvers. Kai didn't even realize that she had stolen until, 5 minutes after she had stolen something. And Kit is like, I think the safest place would be on my person, blah, blah, blah. And he's basically telling her, like, hey, I have something to steal. You're gonna, like, what are you gonna do? Like, that's just, I think, ignorance on Kit's part, which is, like, know your audience, man.
I mean, he's been stuck in the castle. He hasn't had much experience with the world.
That's true, but, I mean, he knows the situation that Paedyn saved Kai, and he knows
Yes.
why, because she stole from him. Like,
Yep. He definitely doesn't know who he's talking to.
no, he sees a pretty girl and is
Yeah.
starstruck.
This is what
Okay.
happens.
So as they're going through loot, I am trying to imagine Kit, and I think like I really tried to put myself in Kit's shoes while we were going through this chapter, even though we're getting it from Paydon's perspective. All I could think about was like what Kit was thinking and feeling seeing this for literally the first time. Like he's shook that the kids are going to be whipped. He's shocked that Paedyn was once one of those kids. He's shocked to see the home that she lived in. He's just trying to like take it all in and like see his kingdom, and like he has no idea that this is even like a thing. So like I feel so heartbroken for him, and he's heartbroken to see the lives of his people. And we get this quote from Kit, and it says, "Thank you. Thank you for showing me this. Loot, my people, you. Thank you for entrusting me with the details of you." And it's like,
Oh.
like we get this like guilt from Paedyn in this situation because she's like this like is really like she's betraying the king, which like sucks. But like Kit has so much potential here to like change things.
It does. And I think
So
that's part of her guilt is like she knows he could change it, but now that she's betraying him, there's a good chance he won't.
yeah, I mean
Who
maybe
knows? I'll
it's
know when I
just
know.
it's just heartbreaking to know that like he has been so sheltered, and seeing his people like he's heartbroken too,
Hmm.
which I think goes to show how good of a person Kit is as well.
Which breaks my heart.
I know. Okay, so after Kit is shown loot and we get the info dump of the century with all the tunnels, and basically like Kit walks them in the front door. Paedyn and Lenny meet with the resistance and tells basically like shares all this information. Now there are a couple things I'm gonna go through this chapter really quickly. There are a couple things I just wanted to point out. Mira is noticeably absent, taking care of her mother. Now, reminder, Mira is Callum's daughter. So, is she taking care of his wife? Are they not married anymore? Is this actually why she's gone? Like, and it's just a very interesting way to put it. And I didn't even like catch this on my first read, but like Callum says something very quickly to prevent Paedyn asking any more questions. So, like, is this suspicious?
100%. He's like, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. I'm
It's
suspicious.
I'm suspicious too.
I picked that up and I was like, mm. Because Mira, they remind us, Lauren reminds us that Mira is a silencer as well. So
Mm-hmm.
just taking care of mean using her silencer abilities.
No, I didn't think of like you think she's trying to silence her mother?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I didn't take it that way. I took it as she's taking care of her mother, like she's on a mission, not necessarily like with her using her powers on her mom.
Oh, I took it that she might be taking care of her mom. Guess we'll
Interesting.
see.
Okay. So Paedyn then goes on to tell them all about the tunnels, and they hatch a plan to get inside the glass room. And that's basically all you need to know about this little chapter. And once Paedyn and Lenny are on their way, Lenny gives Paedyn the biggest compliment and calls her, like, she's like, I don't know who I am anymore. And he says, "You're Paedyn Gray, silver savior, silver tongued, and quick to shove her silver dagger into people." And like, sometimes we're all in like our own heads and you need someone else's perspective to like help pull you out of the funk you might be in. Liam literally did this to me last night. So like that's why like good friends are so important to remind us like who and what we are, because sometimes you cannot see that and there's no way like your brain is allowing you to see it.
Hmm.
So
I love Lenny.
yeah, he's just a good friend.
He is.
Okay. Now on to the nightmare. And for those of you who have listened to our past two bonus episodes, past 3, you have heard that this is one of my favorite subtropes, is when they have nightmares and they calm each other and then they fall asleep and sleep the best they have in forever. So I was eating this up. I
I'm glad
was
that you
here
got
for it.
this set of chapters then.
Well, it's funny. So I I love this subtrope, but it's funny because I think I started saying it because I read this book like right around the same time. So like I was reading this book and I was like, "Oh, I love that." And then I didn't want to just say enemies to lovers every time, so we brought this in. So, yeah. I think it was because of this book, not necessarily the other way around, if it makes sense. Okay, so Kai is in the middle of a nightmare about Paedyn getting hurt, and we get this quote out of the pit of Kai's despair, and it says, quote, "I never wanted her blood on my hands, never her blood." Jax is also hurt in this dream, and then all of his victims. And we've known for a while that Kai gets nightmares, and I wonder if these are the common recurring nightmares that he has been having his whole life, of like every time he has a victim, they show up in his dreams that night. So I wonder if he gets one, like he gets a nightmare every time after he has to kill one of his victims. But this one's a little bit different because Paedyn's not one of his victims. He's just scared about hurting them. So, but Jax was one of his victims. So I don't know, like, if that changes anything, but just very interesting. So, anyways, Kai is screaming and wakes Paedyn up, and is like earlier in the book we see that his bedroom is like all the way at the end of a hall. Like, is this why he's in the bedroom all the way at the end of the hall? Because the hallway that his bedroom's in, remember, like it's like nobody has ever touched it. Like there's dust on all the paintings and everything until you get to his room, which is lived in.
I thought his room was directly across the hall for the trials, and that room was his like regular room.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, is his regular room down like at the end of a hall because he's had nightmares?
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So she goes to check on him, unsure why she cares, and we do get that quote, like, "My feet move, but I'm not sure why I do," you know? So we do get that parallel
Yes,
again.
girl.
And when she can't get him to wake up, she literally climbs on top of him. Hilarious. I was reading this and I was like, what is going on? Never once have I tried to wake somebody up by climbing on top of them and shaking them. Like,
Yeah.
there are other ways, my friend. Either way, when he wakes up, he flips them and holds a dagger to her throat, which is such beautiful symmetry to what has been happening with Paedyn holding the dagger to his throat basically the whole book.
Mm-hmm.
But in continuation of that symmetry, she's not scared one bit. Like, the whole time, like, whenever she holds a dagger to his throat, he's like this picture of like nonchalance. And here she's not scared of him one bit. She's like, "Kai, like, it's me. Like, look at me, whatever." Like, amazing. This is also giving the fortress situation when he's under the simulation and he goes to shoot her and she remembers that he can't look the victims in the eye when he shoots them from when they're in the simulation, right?
It's been so long. I can't confirm.
Okay. Well, she's like, "No, you need to look me in the eyes, like, to do this," because she knows he won't pull the trigger if he looks her in the eyes. This is giving the same vibes, no doubt.
I need to reread those books. It's been so long.
You do.
Also, I want to say I knew that them being across from each other would be important. It would come into play at some point. I called it. Hypothesis confirmed. But I also just wanted to say I love this quote here, or if it's just before, when she has been noticing him like always having this mask on. And she says, "His cool mask has cracked, crumbled in panic, and I can see every emotion as it flits across his face." So this is the first time we're really seeing his mask. cracking in front of her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think we've seen it a couple times before, but I think this is the most present, where like she can see every emotion. So Kai is then heartbroken over hurting Pei. Like, remember, like, I want to throw back to like in his nightmare, he was like, I never wanted her blood on my hands, and here she is bleeding because he put a dagger to her throat, and he's like, I don't, like, look at what I did. Like, I can't believe I did that to you. And he gets off of her because, like I said, they flipped and now she's under him. And then he asks her to stay, begs her to stay. And this was just like, I was reading this when I first read this. I was like, is she gonna stay or is she gonna walk out? Like, I like was on the edge of my seat. And I just want to remind our listeners, Kai doesn't beg for anybody. He's begging for her. Mm-hmm. Not only is he begging, but he's begging for, like, he's not begging, like, oh, please save me. Please, like, don't kill me, whatever. He's not begging for his life. He's begging her to stay, which is something that we later learn he's never done before because everybody else leaves him. We get this quote from Paedyn, and it says, I turn slowly and meet his gaze. His breath catches. His gaze softens. He didn't think I would stay. He expects everyone to leave him. And with that heartbreaking thought in mind, I don't hesitate as I lift the cover of his bed. And I'm going to, like, start tearing up again because, like, poor guy.
I highlighted that, too. He expects everyone to leave him, which is so freaking sad. I love him so much.
Like... Poor guy. Like I said, I think I'm just like falling, like I just love Kai more and more and more the more that I read about him in this book. Okay. There's another question and answer without words that I think we just like are eating these up. We're just like, we love them. And it's like, he like gets really close to her in bed and he's like, do you want me closer? And she leans back and is like, yes. And then they cuddle up and they memorize each other's features and they go to sleep. 10 out of 10. So this whole chapter is so vulnerable from both Paedyn and Kai. They're lowering their walls for each other. It's so sweet, but it's also nerve-wracking. So why is the memorizing language used so often in this chapter? Like, I think I counted like 3 or 4 times where it's like, I'm memorizing your face or I'm memorizing her face or whatever. And even in the next chapter, we get so much memorization. Like, why is it used so much? And it makes me a little nervous going through this again. Like, it makes me a little nervous for what could potentially happen in Reckless because there's so much of this language. So does the fact that Paedyn admits that she feels safe in his arms and is a little bit afraid of how safe she feels here. So, like, I'm very nervous. Like, I feel like we're getting to the point where, like, this is not really foreshadowing the end of the book. This is really foreshadowing what's going to happen in Reckless, and I'm very nervous.
Ugh, I didn't even catch that. Now I'm very nervous.
Yeah. So we're on to the next morning, and Kai wakes up. Now you have me doing it. I'm like, Kay wakes up.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I listened to the audiobook yesterday.
So we're on to the next morning, and Kai wakes up, 10 out of 10, takes care of our girl, gets Paedyn food. Mm-hmm. If we have any male listeners, getting your girl food will always do wonders. Like, if anybody wants to if anybody wants to know what to do in the morning for whatever, read this chapter from Kai. Just read it. It'll give you all the answers. Okay. And then he comes back and Pei throws a shoe at him, and I just love that that's what she like grabbed, was a shoe. And then he calls her gray, and she frowns, and it's like, my heart. Punch me in the gut.
I want to point out here, you mentioned she uses the shoe as a weapon. This is like one of the few times she doesn't have her dagger with her.
That's a good point.
Like, yeah. She felt safe enough to go help him and not bring her dagger.
Or she was worried enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she doesn't have her dagger, which is important.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't even catch that. Good job, Keri.
Thanks.
Okay, so he makes up for it when he says that he's a fool, but only a fool for her.
Giggle, giggle.
We're puddles. What's the saying? What's your saying?
I was trying to remember. I was full of sayings that one day. I don't remember it anymore.
Oh, is it grab me a mop? Because
Oh
I'm a
yeah,
puddle?
grab me a mop because I'm a puddle. You gotta clean me up. Something like that. I don't remember.
And then he thanks her again, which is like my heart. Like, not only did he beg her to stay, but he thanks her twice. We get 2 times. And then my heart hurts because she pulls away and he gets angry that she pulled away and just gets frustrated. And he lets all of his jealousy show and is like, of course, you need all the time in the world to get ready for my brother or something like that. And Paedyn flinches. And that just makes him even angrier, but not that he's angry at her. He's angry that he did that to her. And it just like continues to like come out. And I think that hurts him more than her retreating because he hurt her and it just makes his heart sink, which poor thing. And then she leaves. And then the next night we're at the ball, which I think that it would have been the same night because we're in the morning at this point.
Yeah.
So Kai's at the ball and is contemplating getting drunk again when Paedyn walks in all her midnight glory, which, based on the description of this dress, I want this dress. Like, amazing. And their gazes meet, sparks, electricity, and then she looks at Kit and the connection is gone. And Kai is feeling all the self-pity and like, okay, as we all know, I love Kai. He's a great, I just really love him as a character. But like, Kai, my guy.
My guy.
Let's talk about maybe if you have less self-pity and like are confident, maybe you could just tell Paedyn how you feel and then there wouldn't be this miscommunication and you wouldn't be jealous because she then would be able to say, yes, I feel the same way about you. I just think of Kit as a friend. And, well, right now, she thinks of Kit as a target. But yeah, anyways, he's feeling all this self-pity. I didn't love that. I get it is part of his character. Great character development, Lauren, but, like, didn't love it. And then we get this last quote that says, because beasts don't get the beauty. And I was like, heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking.
And that's it for chapters 41 through 50.
I feel like this was definitely a build-up part to where we get a lot more in the next set. I'm very excited. Will I probably be reading tonight? Yeah, probably. But we didn't really have any meet cutes, but we are going to do tomes and tonics still because we didn't do drinks tonics for our Calaman crew, our people of the resistance, our leaders. So we are going to do them. So let's start with Callum. What do you got for him?
You go first.
Okay. I chose a red eye, which is just a hot coffee with a shot of espresso.
I didn't know what that was.
Yeah. Just, I think he's going to want something strong and just straightforward.
Interesting. Okay. I chose a Tim Hortons Double Double. Do you know what a Double Double is?
I don't. I've never been to Tim Hortons.
So, first of all, Tim Hortons, if nobody has been, is the most, I'm like gonna build it up. It's not the most amazing, but it's you just have to go. And the problem is you have to go and like know what to order because some of the things on their menu, not 10 out of 10. They're 0 out of 10s. Maybe a 2 out of 10.
Dang.
But if you know what to order, they are 10 out of 10s every single time. Tim Hortons it's like a mix between, it's probably close to like a Dunkin', but like a cafe style Dunkin'. It's like a mix between like the Starbucks cafe in Barnes & Noble and a Dunkin' Donuts, I feel like.
Interesting.
It's very specific. But it's a coffee shop, basically. And a Tim Hortons Double Double is just coffee with 2 creams and 2 sugars. But
Amazing.
That's how you order it, is a Double Double. Or, as my dad gets, a double single.
Is that 2 sugars and 1 cream?
2 creams, 1 sugar.
2 creams, 1 sugar. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. It's a great
Interesting.
time.
I need to go to Tim Hortons. I only know about Tim Hortons from How I Met Your Mother.
It's in How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah, because Robin is Canadian.
Oh.
And they go to Canada.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Anyways. Mira. I chose a soy latte for her. What did you choose?
Why'd you choose a soy latte?
I just felt like she would enjoy sipping on a latte.
Okay.
And she wouldn't want it sweet, but soy is sweet enough that she'd just enjoy it.
Okay.
Basic. Chill.
I chose a flat white with almond milk instead of whole milk.
Interesting.
Because I feel like she's an almond milk girly.
She does seem like a non-dairy milk girly.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Lena, who we learned is an artist. Just wanted to point that out.
Mm-hmm.
I chose, because of her being an artist, an iced matcha latte with strawberry cold foam and mocha drizzle, because it's really pretty.
Amazing.
And I think she would enjoy that.
I love that.
What'd you pick?
I chose a vanilla bean frappuccino because I think it's easy to order, but it's like fun enough. I don't know. I don't know why. That just felt like her.
I feel like she might get like caramel drizzle or mocha drizzle too or something.
Yeah.
Or like the Java chips to make it like a cookies and cream even. That's a good choice. I definitely think she'd be something sweet.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yep.
And then finally, Finn, I did a caramel iced coffee with cream. I think he'd just want something basic, but something sweet. Probably something that everyone else would order, which is why I really like yours. Tell the people what yours is.
I said an iced brown sugar oat milk shaken espresso. Why do you like mine?
Because it's like, it was pretty popular when it first came out, and I feel like it still really is. It's a sweet drink. It's basic. A lot of people love it.
Okay. I chose this probably for similar reasons, but I chose it because I think he found something that he likes that's more than just like black coffee. I feel like he's not the guy who like wants to go up and just order black coffee, but he's not sure what he wants. So he found this because he tried it on a whim one day and is like, this is my new favorite drink. I'm going to order it every single time. And this is like, that's it.
I love it. That's that fits him a lot.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks. Okay, so for our magical moments today, it's real short. I have a paragraph and a sentence of magical moments because we don't get a ton. So
We really don't.
The only true bit of magic we really see in this set of chapters is when Kit uses his firepower to light up the tunnels underneath the palace. And the rest of my paragraph is lots of questions about this power, which I think I'm way overanalyzing, but that's fine. Okay. Question 1. Does his hand light up with fire? Like, if he holds his hand, is it just, like, light? Or is it, like, is his hand engulfed in fire?
Like Jack. The Incredibles.
That's so funny. I was thinking of the Fantastic Four movie with...
Oh, I have not seen that in so long.
That's so funny. Okay, so does his hand just light up, or is it engulfed? Does fire engulf his whole hand? Is it just like a fireball above his hand? Is he able to have fire like hover like a lantern above them? Does it shoot out from his hand so he has to like hold it like this and light? I just want to know how his firepower works. I had lots of questions.
I see that.
But other than that, there's really not much magic in this stretch of chapters, so we have a short magical moments today.
It's okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to us today. If you liked today's episode, please rate and review us wherever you listen and give us 5 stars. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. The best thing you can do for us or any other podcast you listen to is to share us with your friends. So Reckless comes out. It's out today as of this recording, but when we release this episode, it'll have been out for 2 days. If you want a refresher before you read Reckless, share us with your friends.
And then for more content, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Tomes and Tropes Pod. Or if you have thoughts about this episode or this book, email us at tomesandtropespod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Powerless so far. And if you want to chat with your theories that spoil, remember to say spoilers or say for Becca only, because Becca has already read it, so we'll be good. Also, don't spoil Reckless for us. I'm just gonna go ahead and add that in until Becca reads it. But
yeah, we have 1 week.
yes, give her some time, and then you can talk about Reckless with her. Yes. But we'll see you next week when we go into chapters 51 through 60.
Stay curious and keep reading.
Bye.